Am I the a-hole for moving out at 17 when I was helping provide for my family because my brother got my now ex-girlfriend pregnant and my parents are supporting them? I'm 17 and my brother is 16. My now ex is 16 too. I started dating her 2 years ago. When she told me she was pregnant, I knew the kid wasn't mine because we never had sex. But she was so distraught that I didn't say anything to anyone at first because I wondered if she might have been violated. But that wasn't it. She had cheated with my brother and he got her pregnant. I admit I lost my temper and almost beat the crap out of him when I found out. My grandpa was able to stop me before I did something I'd regret. Not because he's my brother and I love him. That's not it at all. It's because it would have ruined my life. My parents were all over the place, but they said they would stand by my brother and my ex. I told them I hoped they knew they were on their own with that, and I wasn't supporting it. They looked at me like I had broken their hearts. See, ever since I was 13, I found ways to help out with money because my parents struggled, and as soon as I could get a real job, I did. I was still doing it when all this happened, and my parents didn't want me to stop. I ended up moving in with my grandparents because I couldn't be around them anymore. My parents were upset I was leaving. My grandparents, who never liked my parents relying on me like they did, told them it was tough luck, and they should be ashamed of themselves for expecting me to take care of the mess my brother created and help them provide for the rest of our lives. They told my parents it was never my job. My ex tried to reach out, and I told her I didn't want to yell at a pregnant person, so just leave me alone and forget I exist, because I will never have anything to do with her again. My brother tried reaching out too, but I just didn't answer, and I deleted his texts and blocked him. I walk away from him at school, and if I see him outside, I walk the other way. I started walking the long way home just to avoid him. My parents expected me to calm down after a month or two, but it's been several months now. I'm almost 18, and the baby will be here soon, and nothing has changed or will change. I told them I won't be a part of that baby's life or my brother's life ever again. They told me I need to calm down and be more rational, that I was always so responsible and good. My grandparents almost lost their minds when they heard that guilt trip and the implication that I wasn't good anymore. I was told by some other family, siblings of one parent, that I should try to be more understanding. That moving out like I did is extreme when I'm still technically a minor. They basically went to bat for my parents because they feel like I was unfair to them when they have to support their kid even if he messed up. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I'm glad you have your grandparents. It was never your responsibility to provide for your parents' family. You have your own life to lead, and you have no obligation to subject yourself to people who intentionally hurt you. I hope that you do great things and have a wonderful life. Me too. My grandparents saved me from being pretty miserable and maybe even going to the streets, because I think I would have chosen that over living there with everything that happened. See the silver lining in all this. Your brother's actions have freed you from any obligations, financial or otherwise, towards your parents and him. No offense, but you are way too young to be supporting 3 to 5 people financially. If you want to work, do it for yourself. If you want to study, do that. Not the a-hole. All the best. Not the a-hole. Keep that hostility, but I do recommend therapy, homie. This nonsense plus the making you support the household crap will stick with you and affect you later in life if you don't address it now. I'm looking into it now, but I'm not totally sold on the idea just yet. Speaking as someone who has been through therapy for other reasons, there is no timetable for getting therapy. It works best when you are ready for it to happen. If you aren't feeling ready just yet, that is okay. It'll still be there for when you do feel it's time. But there is definitely no harm in researching your options in the meantime to shortlist some good candidates for when you feel it's time to reach out. I like this idea. I don't want to end up with someone who tries to make me get over it and have a relationship with them all again. I know there are therapists who don't believe in not having contact with family and believe you should stick around regardless. So I don't want to bounce around just to one who won't say anything like that to me. My grandparents said they'd look out for stuff like that for me. But when we were talking about it, the first couple we found were like that, and I was so turned off of therapy from that. Next story. Am I the a-hole? I told mom she can bill me using the tuition money she stole from me. When I, 33 male, was preparing to go to uni, my mom confessed that there was no tuition money for me. Over the years, my dad would give her cash to deposit, but she only deposited the first payment. She spent the rest. To be honest, I wasn't even surprised. I was used to being disappointed by her. She promised that she would pay me back and asked that I never tell my dad. So for 4 years, I thanked them for the tuition money while I took out loans. For reasons related to her narcissism, I have an arm's-length relationship with her, though she would say we're pretty close, as she assumes my smiling and nodding while she drones on about the same stories constitutes a relationship. We have a family cottage that she puts above everything else. She lives there about 90 days a year. I've been going there with my girlfriend for about 4 days each summer, which she begrudges, as it takes away from her time. My dad supports my going, which is how I pull it off. She recently told me it was time for me to start paying for some of the maintenance on the cottage since I use it. She actually suggested $1,000, which is wildly disproportionate. I told her she could take it out of the tuition IOU and that we could negotiate the amount with my dad. She was speechless. She texted me later to say that it was manipulative to bring up the tuition and to threaten to tell my dad. It went on and on. I've been thinking about it, and at first I'm hurt and offended that she can't just do a nice thing for me. She has to get something out of it. Second, I guess I'm not really over the whole tuition thing. Would I be the a-hole for bringing up ancient history and not paying her for use of the cottage? Edit. At the time, it never occurred to me that I should have told him. I thought I was doing the right thing by protecting both of them. That pretty much summarizes my childhood. Not the a-hole, but I'm confused as to why you agreed to keep this secret from your dad. It isn't clear from your post whether or not your parents are currently married, but either way, it makes no sense to lie to your father. He thinks he spent money on your education, and for some reason you went along with this lie? Right? I wonder about the relationship. If it was my child, I'd be very angry at my wife, but I'd be hurt by my son. Like, do we not have a good enough relationship that he felt he couldn't tell me? That I wouldn't believe him or what? Also hurt that I worked so hard to help my child and give them a head start, but they felt it better to fall into debt than not tell me for reasons? If I found out my son felt he had to protect his mother to this degree after a transgression that large, I would be horrified and disgusted with myself to see that I allowed my son to be raised by this woman without adequate protection from me. Everyone sucks here except Dad. You're the a-hole for not telling your dad as soon as you were aware that your mom stole from both him and you. He could try legal action to recover some or all of that stolen tuition money. Instead, he may have continued giving her money intended for your schooling while you were taking on debt. Your complicity in your mom stealing from your dad and you has hurt your dad. You let him stay ignorant and vulnerable to your mom's lies. Your mom is obviously the a-hole as well. She has injured you and your dad and manipulated you into being her accomplice to leave your dad vulnerable. You are an adult now. You can choose how much access and energy you focus on your parents. Your mom is a manipulative, abusive user. No one who doesn't hold firm boundaries to prevent her accessing vulnerabilities is safe with her. You owe your dad a huge apology and the truth. You have deceived him for years now, hiding your mom's lies and thievery to the damage of you both. It's one thing to be a vulnerable child under duress from a present and toxic parent. It's quite another to carry that deception on to taint your current and future relationship with your father. I think this is a little harsh. The child of a narcissist made that decision to protect themselves, and they have felt like they had to live with that decision. The longer you hold on to a lie, the harder it is to come clean. That said, it sounds like you think it's time to come clean and are worried. Trust your instincts, not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to make amends with my dying sister? My sister, 53, and I, 45, have not spoken since I was 30. We used to be super close. She was like a mother to me growing up, as our own mother fell pregnant when I was 1.5 and spent the entire pregnancy plus 6 months post-birth in the hospital. At 11 years old, I was living with my sister and her boyfriend, now husband, for school reasons. Her boyfriend SA'd me. I told her, and he beat her when she confronted him. She then told me it was my fault because I was acting like a tart and had led him on. I believed her and felt responsible for the beating she got. I spent the next 12 years trying to protect her from him, cleaning her blood off the walls and helping to raise their kids. I constantly begged her to leave him, to no avail. At 24, he tried it on me again. I told our mother. Her first question was, "Did you make him think you wanted that?" She made excuses for him and told me not to tell my sister. A week later, my sister called me, yelling and demanding to know what I did with her husband. I told her exactly what happened, and she called me a liar. I kept giving her the benefit of the doubt and blaming myself for the next 6 years. I finally had enough of her BS and cut her out of my life at 30. She got cancer when I was 21, and I moved cities to care for her and her kids. Apparently, it's back now, and my mom thinks I need to forgive her and make amends before she dies. For the record, she's still married to my offender. My response was that she died 15 years ago in my eyes. So, am I the a-hole for not making amends and letting her go to her grave without my forgiveness? Now for the comments. Has she even apologized? You can start forgiving someone without a sincere apology. Given the lack of apology, you're definitely not the a-hole. Even if she did apply, you're still under no obligation to forgive. And you would still be not the a-hole. Your mother needs to understand that you tolerated that partner for years for your sister, and sis is not willing to repay that kindness with acknowledgement. No apology ever, just denials, excuses, and you're making it sound worse than it was. Forgiveness is for you, not her. It's so she doesn't take up your thoughts and emotional bandwidth any more than she already has. You can forgive someone and never see them again. You never have to put yourself in a position to be abused or put in danger to prove you've forgiven them. So it's okay to forgive, but reconciliation doesn't sound like it will be safe for you physically or emotionally, given your abuser is still in her life. And she did nothing to protect you from him when he assaulted you as a child. Seriously? She doesn't need to forgive at all. Forgiveness is crap, and all it does is let the wrongdoer off the hook. Why should she forgive when her sister didn't even try to atone? Nope, no absolution here. If anyone needs to make amends, it's your sister. Your mental health is more important. Stay away, and don't let them guilt you into doing something you don't want to do. SA apologists that blame the victim are some of the lowest of the low. OP, agree with the above. Do you have a sounding board? Group therapy? Girls group where you vent at a bar every Thursday night? Kickboxing? What are you doing with your life to have no regrets? Has she reached the point of a sigh and a shoulder shrug? If there is any emotional response, you still need to work on yourself. Example, a pen pal of mine spoke of her father and his near abuse every time he would visit. He had something to do with what happened that put her in a wheelchair. I worked with her over a period of months on how to get to a point where he didn't get a rise out of her or allow him to push her buttons. It was so successful that he gave up and moved back to his hometown in Tennessee. 6 weeks later, he took his own life. She was able to process it. Her younger brother, who kept hope their dad would change, didn't do as well with the loss. Good luck. Keep us updated. Sending white light to you and your family. I have no regrets, and I am indifferent when it comes to my sister. Edit. Thank you all for the positive advice. I truly appreciate it. To answer a couple of the most prominent questions in the comments, yes, I spent a long time in and out of therapy, unpacking all the hurt, guilt, feelings of abandonment, and feeling of being let down. No, I don't hate her. For many years I did, venomously, but that feeling changed to indifference as I healed. I don't believe I needed to forgive her to heal. My healing came when I found forgiveness for myself. As stupid as it sounds, I blamed myself and had to work hard to accept and believe that the blame doesn't sit at my feet. For the most part, I pay her no mind and live a full and happy life surrounded by the people I hold dearest. This only became an issue when it was brought up recently. Thank you again for all the positivity. Last story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my wife out? after I found out she cheated, even though she says it was just emotional? I, 34 male, have been married to my wife, 32 female, for 6 years, together for 9. We've had what I thought was a stable, loving relationship. No major fights, good communication, shared values, or so I thought. A couple of weeks ago, I noticed she started acting different, guarded, always on her phone, jumping into the shower as soon as she got home. I trusted her, but my gut was screaming. Last Thursday, while she was asleep, I looked at her messages. I know, not proud. That's when I found them. Dozens of messages between her and a coworker. Flirty, intimate, and clearly more than just friendship. Stuff like, "I wish I could fall asleep next to you, and you make me feel alive again." Nothing explicitly sexual, but emotionally, it somehow felt worse. They talked about me, how I wouldn't understand her the way he does. I confronted her the next day. She cried, admitted it, and insisted it was just emotional, that it never got physical, and that she was going through a phase of feeling unappreciated. I asked her why she didn't just talk to me about that. She said she was scared I'd shut her down. I told her to pack a bag and leave. I needed space. She begged me not to throw away our marriage over a few messages. Said I was being cruel. Her sister called me later, saying I was being dramatic and emotionally abusive for kicking her out over just texting. Now I'm sitting alone in our apartment, questioning everything. I loved her, still do, but I feel betrayed on a level I can't describe. I don't know if I overreacted. Part of me wonders if I'm letting pride ruin what could be fixed. So, am I the a-hole for kicking her out after finding out about her emotional affair? Not the a-hole, but if it wasn't physical, why was she rushing to the shower as soon as she got home? Emotionally cheating hurts just as much as physically, but I'm not so sure she didn't cross both lines. She was banging the dude and taking a shower when she got home got rid of the evidence. She could have been trying to cover her bases if things were physical. The fact she felt the need to hide everything just proves how deep the betrayal goes. Not the a-hole. Personally, an emotional affair would be way more hurtful than a purely physical one. You're not overacting at all. She's the one that messed up, so if you need space from her, then you get to claim the apartment. Some people would be able to move on with the relationship. Some wouldn't. Whatever group you're in is something to figure out. But at this point, she's already screwing up even more by downplaying the affair and being unsupportive. The problem isn't just the cheating, it's now also her reaction when it came out. Sorry this happened to you, men. Yeah, this is what I was going to say. There are a lot of articles available talking about how emotional affairs are just as, if not more damaging than physical affairs.